pictures. Listen, I had enough too.
So I got up this morning about 9.
About 9?
And my front door is open, so I went up and I shut it, not thinking about anything like that. And I look over and check my Quinton. He was going, oh, Mr. there. He was going.
Sorry.
Went to bed at midnight, woke up around 9. No mention of the Azalea trip. There were 2 trips, 2:04 earlier in the night, 10:11. Trip number 2 is that Azalea trip, a little after 1 a.m. And she is totally omitting that. Now, all hands on deck, right? The missing child. There are detectives working on this case that aren't even out at the scene from the very beginning. One of them is a Chatham County Police detective you'll hear from named Kiana Robbins. Kiana Robbins is at the Islands Precinct, I think is where she was on Johnny Mercer. Like not anywhere close to here. But she's in her office, she's sitting at her computer and she's researching. She's seeing if she can find some helpful information. This is a stock photo of what's called a flock camera. The flock system is a series of cameras that are set up around town at major intersections or along busy roads. And what they do is they snap a picture of the license plates of all the cars that drive by. And police can use these for a number of different things. One of the things they can use it for is, say you have somebody who flees from a traffic stop and actually gets away, and the police can't pursue them without undue danger. They can take that tag number of that individual, they can put it in a flock system and put a lookout out for them. If that tag hits on any other cameras, it'll alert the police and they can try again and make a traffic stop. Another thing that the police can do, and what Detective Robbins did, was look up vehicles registered to the defendant. She finds that Dodge Journey that the defendant drove to dispose of Quinton's body. And she puts it into the flock system, looks it up in the database to see what, if any, flock cameras that vehicle has hit on anytime recently. And she sees that car has been out late at night, driving around on trips that the defendant hasn't mentioned yet. She radios that information or maybe calls via phone. This is the tag she looks up. That's the Dodge Journey in the driveway at the time of the police response. She calls Lieutenant Foster, who you'll hear from. This is after the defendant has told Wilkins she went to bed at midnight and woke up at 9. Hasn't mentioned anything about the Orlando trip or the Azalea trip. Foster goes up to her. He now has this information that this tag has been hidden on some flock cameras. He seems to have been driving around during the night. And he goes up to her, and he's a lieutenant at this point, which is like kind of a managerial type position. He's, by this time, is the senior man on scene, I believe. But he has background in investigations. He was with the Savannah Police Department, I think, at one point, in their violent crimes unit, investigating homicide. So he knows his way around an investigation. He knows how to do these sort of things. He goes up to her armed with this information about the flock hits.
I said I'm not going to comment to you anymore. I'm doing this video about this.
He wants to know what these trips were about. So he goes up to her and he asks her, "Did you go anywhere last night?" And he's a savvy guy, so he's careful to tackle on, like where the kidnapper could have followed you home. And she seems to know, the evidence will show that she seems to know that he knows something about this trip to Azalea that she took and has not mentioned to this point. And so she comes up with a story. It's not totally clear when she came up with it. But the story is that, that trip that I took away from my house shortly after 1 a.m., that was to go pick up Oragel from a friend at the Chevron. Now the Chevron is right next to Azalea Mobile Home Plaza. They're kind of right next to each other. And so that's her story.
I didn't even read what you said because I said I was done with it, so I don't. Keep talking. Have fun.
This is what she was doing, driving to that location at that